People of Reddit, what was the most NSFW event you ever stumbled upon in high school? The dudes from the class where I was from before I changed classes started doing group masturbating sessions in the locker room before or after pee. That shit smelled like rotten oysters after. The next class was always because of the smell. Like if you've done this before with your homies. Just a bunch of wankers. No one thought it would be a bad idea for the cross-country team to have thin white uniforms until we had a race in a thunderstorm. So many flashbacks of penises swaying with each stride. The seniors in the photography class got caught banging in the dark room. Used condom left wrapped around the tap on the sink in the boys' toilets. A week later it was still there. A month later there was another one next to it. A sophomore at my school gave a freshman a donut filled with cum. He got criminal charges. Friend of mine got with our art teacher, who was an ex-stripper. Me and 3 others found a sex dungeon underneath the auditorium in the back storage room. The girl who ran it was a junior who a good portion of the football team there. There was a bucket-filled quarterway with used condoms. Fun day. A freshman got jerked off by his girlfriend under the table in the cafeteria. During lunch, someone sitting near them noticed was happening, took a video, and posted it online. The administration quickly found out. The video was taken down, and all 3 involved were suspended. We always threw house parties at my friend's house. One day I went to grab my jacket from one of the rooms and I heard some moaning and groaning, so I thought it was just a couple hooking up. I flipped the lights on because I couldn't find my jacket and saw that 3 of the track girls were butt naked finger banging and eating each other out. Instead of just standing there and watching or trying to participate, my nerdy high school self said hi, waved, and said have fun, as I walked out giving them privacy. Later on that year, I ended up dating one of the girls and would always try to mention it and maybe try to get a threesome going. Never happened though. She said it was just a drunk moment. I was a dildo peddler for a while at school. Girls who wanted sex toys but didn't want to buy them themselves or couldn't would pay me the cost and a bit extra for me to get it for them simply because I had no shame as a 17-year-old. There was a kid. We will call him CB. He was notoriously a bad kid. Always in fights. Getting kicked out of school etc. Anyways, his locker wasn't next to mine but it was really close. He and I never had problems because I purposefully avoided him. One day another kid, we will call AC, and CB, got into an argument. It led to a pushing and shoving match and some shit talking but got separated really quickly. The next day AC was walking past our lockers and CB pulled a literal crowbar out of his locker, ran up behind AC, and hit him in the back of the head so hard that blood hit me in the face. Part of AC's scalp literally half folded over the back of his head as he was on the floor. CB started hitting him in the back and the back of the head with it. Other students jumped on him and held him down. An ambulance took AC to the hospital. His skull was fractured and he had broken ribs. I had to get checked out because of the blood exposure. No idea where CB went, but I never saw him again. In 8th grade we went on a class trip to Hershey Park. 2 girls gave a guy a blowjob on the bus ride home next to a sleeping chaperone. They eventually got caught and that's why there are now no co-ed buses in the district. This was also in 2002. We had a girl who would sit in the back of the bus and seemed to always have a different dude sit next to her. Turns out she was giving guys hand jobs for a small price. School is all about learning a trade. Walked into a bathroom after school and found a guy and a girl about to go to town. She had her shirt off and skirt up. He had his pants on. I caught them just before the moment of insertion. I said nothing. I would have left them to it. Except all other bathrooms on campus except this one were always locked shortly before last bell. So I silently walked to a urinal. Calmly did my business. Properly washed my hands. By the time I went to leave, the girl was hiding in a stall and the guy was waiting by the door. I shrugged at the guy. Guy shrugged back. I left and heard the door lock behind me. Not one of us said anything or made a sound during the entire exchange. Went to a Christian boarding school. You'd be surprised the amount of fingers in vaginas during chapel. Had a guy run through the school completely naked. High school by the way. Even ran up and slapped some teacher's ass. Haven't heard of him since, but they was like 5+ years ago. We had to go outside for a physics experiment, but on the way from the classroom to the field, there was a bloody trail, because a girl had just been stabbed in the bathroom and run to the nurse. She'd moved to the country less than a month prior, gotten mixed up with some shady people, and a 14-year-old hid in the bathroom stall before jumping out and trying to stab her in the face. She put her arms up and only had superficial injuries, but she never came back. Poor girl had PTSD last time I checked. I'm very sure some guy will make a video about this post with a robotic voice. I ran cross-country in high school. Sometimes during practice we would run through trails in the woods surrounding the high school. One day right after school ended we started running down the trails and stumbled upon 2 students having sex. Judging by their reactions, I don't think they were expecting a group of 15 guys to run by while they were getting it on. Not me specifically, but 2 kids in my Catholic high school in the bathroom, and someone caught them and videotaped it. They posted it online. Our school made the news, and now they measure girls' skirts if they look too high, as well as banning phones. Wow, what an idiot. What happened to the dummy who produced, possessed, and distributed child pornography? I went to a small party at my friend's house. My girlfriend and I got there late. We went in and noticed nobody was in the living room. Weird. They said they'd be here. Start walking to the back and I could hear several voices in the bedroom. I just opened the door and there were 7 of my friends just having a casual orgy. Legend has it that a guy in my sophomore or junior year used to sit next to his girlfriend and get handjobs during English class. My friend got a few hand jobs in seminary, basically high school theology for Mormons. You mean seminary? Not really NSFW, just my most vivid HS memory. It was the biggest poop I'd ever seen, just one huge log. To my memory the size of the toilet bowl. It definitely didn't fit down the hole and had to be removed by a janitor. Everyone told their friends about it and one by one we all went and checked it out. Also no toilet paper in the bowl. All that was there was the one big fat legendary turd. It physically hurts me to think about how it came out of a butthole. Holy shit, I had the same thing in middle school. Someone made such a girthy, long, robust turd that it had braced itself end to end across the entire rim of the toilet above the water. It was incredible. It reeked. It was like God himself had wedged it there. We missed the first 10 minutes of class as every boy shuffled giddily through the boys' restroom to the big stall where that glorious shit lay in state. To remember it now, it was easily 3 to 4 inches in diameter, and almost a foot long. Just remarkable. The water was even flushed away several times to demonstrate there was no trickery. A teacher rushed in and used a plunger to try and tap it in. It held once, twice, a third time. We were buckled with laughter. It finally broke and both pieces landed in such a way that still prevented them from going down. Absolute highlight of middle school. High school bus hit a deer. Police were called. Deer was shot 3 times in front of the bus to put it down. Watched it from the parking lot while skipping school. Not me, but a friend of mine who was yearbook photographer. She was a rail thin, awkward, geeky high schooler and was asked to photograph a day in the life of the swim team. Our school had the football fever, and so other sports were always trying to get more than a few mentions in the yearbook packed with dozens of football shots. So my friend showed up to the swim team practice, and later state tournament. She was asked to join them at their victory party, which was at someone's house with its own pool and hot tub. When she got there, most of the team was already drunk, and not an adult in sight. There were also a lot of girlfriends of the team there, and more than once, my friend was asked to join them naked in the hot tub. Sex was pretty freely flowing, and she strived constantly to get acceptable photos instead of the wanton depravity around her. At one point, some naked girl was chugging while she was in the cowboy position, screwing on top of her boyfriend while everyone cheered her on. They kept begging my friend to take photos, and she refused in horrified shock. Some of the guys got really handsy with her until finally she picked a time when they were distracted, and she left. She later was crying to her best friend because she felt so stressed out and it was nothing like she expected. Sort of like showing a 10-year-old Caligula when they were expecting Toy Story 2. Only one photo made it to yearbook from that party, a hot tub photo where she had to crop out the beer keg, and everyone's body was below the waterline so you couldn't tell they were naked. 8th grade sex ed. Teacher showed us a video of a woman giving birth. Very close shots. Very graphic. Very disturbing to most 8th graders. Weird kid in the class tucks his arms into his shirt and starts jerking off to the fully dilated vagina being shown on the 200-inch projector screen. I walked into a bathroom after a fight. Broken mirror. Blood smeared on the wall and floor. Water everywhere probably unrelated to the fight and a lot of bloody tissues in the sink. Oh, and there was a turd in the urinal. I hope that was unrelated to the fight. One guy flashing his dick at the teacher and also one dude was caught in the bathroom giving a blowjob. At least he got a sweet holofoil Clefairy card out of it. We had 2 people under the band bus in the mud at a contest. My high school had to ban blankets after 2 freshmen were caught having sex under one in the middle of the art hallway.